The Cerebral Entertainment Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome back to yet another riveting edition of the Cerebral Entertainment Podcast. I am James, and with me as always is my good friend Colt.
Yes, sir.
And with us today we have returning guests, Mr. Kyle Dent of Shamrocks, Pub and Grill. We have Jeff Britton of Exit 6 Pub and Brewery.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine. It's good to see you gentlemen again.
Good to see you
coming
too.
Back on, man. We, like I said earlier when we were talking before we hit record, we replayed our previous episode when COVID was first ravaging our world, our planet Earth, everywhere. And of course we were talking about how its effects on small business were very difficult. And so we wanted to check back in, see what progress we've made, see what we've got in the future, and just kind of rap about it a little bit. So once again, glad to have you guys on. So
yeah, thanks for having us again.
You bet, man. Where should we start? I mean, what's
one of the good things, we're actually doing this face-to-face this time as opposed to via Zoom.
I think that notes some progress right there, right?
Yeah.
We're able to actually commune together in person.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I didn't even know what Zoom was 12 months ago.
Yeah.
I don't think you knew what Zoom was until that day that we recorded, because we had
I was just very hungover that day.
And I'm so over Zoom now. I hate Zoom so much.
Right?
If you've done a Zoom conference call,
Oh yeah.
everybody talking over each other, the old people can't figure it out. It's the worst, man.
It's a science to try to know when to talk and when to not talk, and yeah, I think we've learned a lot through that.
Personally, I'd go another couple of years of old men getting caught jerking off on camera. So I'm okay with that.
All right,
That's the one good thing that came from this.
I'll give you that. There's humor in it for sure.
Yeah. No, the technology basically exploded during COVID, and so you know that all that conference call technology and everything like that, you had to come to terms with it. You had to get to know it. You had to get used to it, because that was the state of affairs. And if it weren't for Zoom and things like that, everything would have just shut down. Everything would have been dead. And so even the podcast. I mean, so we got to give some credit to Zoom where credit's due. Even though we're sick of it now, we want to be back in person and be with each other like this. But a lot of things COVID had to teach us. We had to make changes and adjustments to. And I know in business that had to have been double, triple than just everything else. So what kind of changes, adjustments have you guys had to make that's still kind of carrying over? And are some of those permanent? And are we having to stick with some of those changes, or are we able to kind of slowly progress back into quote-unquote normalcy?
Good.
I mean, I think the mask is the biggest thing that our staff had to wear. You know, at the beginning, when the culture was becoming, we were having to do that, and then then we had to make the decision that all our employees had to do it. And I know out here in St. Charles, we've never had a mask mandate, but here we made sure people were bitching, and people want us to have masks on our staff, and but that was probably the biggest thing. The cleanliness and the extra cost of paper menus that you just throw away as soon as one person touched it. We spent thousands of dollars on menus, and it sucked. But we're starting to get back to normal. As the vaccines get going too, I think we'll start to find that's starting to slip away as well too.
You'd never had a mask mandate out here?
Never in St. Charles, no.
Really? Wow. I'm kind of surprised.
I don't know if you're aware, but in St. Charles, coronavirus doesn't exist. It's a hoax made up by the liberal media. So we're okay out here. It's not until you cross the bridge that you have to worry about it.
I got that, okay.
But only between the hours of 11 p.m. and 10 a.m. Otherwise, you're safe.
Got you. Okay.
Or if you're at a church or Walmart, you're still safe.
Yeah. That's very true.
What about over at Exit 6? What kind of changes did you have to make, adjustments, and?
Well, I mean, we went 2 months of not being open to the public, where people weren't allowed to step foot in the building. That was the biggest shock for me. Same thing where you had to go with paper menus and stuff like that. I mean, brewing beer, one of the biggest keys to that is cleanliness. So being clean, that wasn't a big change for us, but just everything else, like, please buy beer. I mean, that was the most difficult thing for us, was getting people to buy beer from me instead of the gas station or, a 6-pack at Schnucks you can come and get a crowler from me, And it started off awesome. And, everybody, like you're wearing that shirt right now, people were supporting local, and it was a rallying cry for us. And I know that probably saved me for those couple of months because everybody they were purposefully coming out because I was an independent business. That's one thing I wish stuck around. It would be the one thing of Corona that actually seemed to do us good for the community. It disappeared real fast, though.
Really?
Yeah, unfortunately.
I think we're starting to see a little bit more again now. I think some of that stimulus money is helping, and you're starting to see people flood into bars and restaurants again.
We are seeing people again. Like you said, I can't tell you the number of people that came in and said, "Oh, it's so nice to be out and about again. I finally got my first shot, so my wife is more comfortable with me leaving, or I'm more comfortable, whatever the case may be." So I have noticed that the vaccines are certainly helping, but the whole sense of support local is the one thing that really hit me the hardest.
Yeah, I think I think one of the funnest parts, and now you look back, it's fun, but both of us got very creative with how we were trying to earn business. I mean, Jeff had a guy in a Tyrannosaurus Rex costume delivering beer with him, and he started a really great Facebook group. I think that was. To look at another, an owner. Jeff has always had a really great relationship. The beer group that you started, explaining, I guess,
I called it St. Charles Beer It Forward, and it was basically just sign up for this group, post your address, and then somebody brings you beer. Just kind of and then if someone brings you beer, go take beer to somebody else that posted their address. My goal was just to try and make people smile during all of this shit. You guys remember how fucking miserable it was, going through all of that. And I personally went through my most difficult year of my life in so many different ways. I just try to get someone to smile. And I figure, what's the best way to get someone to smile other than free beer?
Right, absolutely.
So, we have like 600 members in there, and as far as I know, at least all 600 have gotten one delivery. So
dang,
it's kind of cool.
So it's funny. I was listening to the podcast that we originally did a year ago, and you were saying, Jeff, 3 weeks, I'm going to be okay. 4 weeks, I'm going to start getting worried. 6 weeks, we're going to have a problem.
Thank God it only lasted 6 weeks.
Now we're a year later, and you survived. All right,
yes.
You're surviving. How would you describe that?
Surviving.
Still surviving. Okay.
It would be a little more accurate than survived.
Okay.
Still scared, still nervous, still way down. Ran the numbers, for tax purposes just recently, so for my 2020, and about 35% compared to years past.
Wow.
Yeah, that hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts. So, there's no savings. There's nothing, anything like that. It's all just what bills do I get to pay this month? So far, we're able to pay the bills. But, it kind of goes back to that whole when everybody was super support local. And now they're like, support local, but Applebee's does have $1 Long Island's this month,
right.
Kind of a thing. We would have been fine, wide open if everybody could still have that same mentality.
Have you thought about doing $1 Long Island's?
I have thought about it, and I've decided no.
That always works out well.
Yeah.
Just pump as much booze down people's throats as you can, see how it works out.
Get them behind the wheel of their car, and do it all for pennies.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the moral of the story is we need to continue to promote small business forever.
Or do our next recording at Applebee's.
Yes, right? I don't think we would have as much leeway, but
yeah, definitely support local. All the big chains, they don't give a shit about you. Go and support us little guys that are trying to fight, that are living an actual dream instead of, a billionaire with his, multi-million-dollar mansion.
Yeah. Those guys are all still getting PPP loans and whatnot, too. I never got a dime.
You never did?
Not one penny.
Why?
I think I'm too small, actually. I don't think I have enough employees. The first time I applied for it, they said, sorry, the money ran out. We don't have it anymore. I applied for it the second time, and it's still up in the air as far as I know. Nobody's ever contacted me. I've hit up a couple of different banks like, hey, guys, can anybody do anything for me? And they're like, well, you don't even have 5 employees. I'm like, yeah, no shit, because I lost them all,
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I
Wow.
don't know, but what I do know is nobody has helped me whatsoever. My landlord never helped me. Banks have not helped me. Government hasn't helped me. Counting on my customers, man.
Yeah.
Luckily, I've got an incredible group of customers.
Good.
So that
Good.
mean the world to me.
Yeah.
I've been a little more lucky. I did get PPP money twice, so that's taken the stress level out of it a lot. When you get that money, it seems like the stress is gone, and then you start to go through it and you realize, fuck, we really did need this money. The overhead that you have, and I was the same way. This building's owned by the Stan Kroenke Group, which he's the biggest piece of shit in the world. There was no leeway with him. There was no, hey, like a lot of landlords, besides both of ours, said, if you just want to tack on 2 months at the end of the lease, we'll do that. But they didn't give a shit. So that sucked.
Why is that? Why are the landlords? I mean, is it a trickle down? Like the banks keep
Because
the
they're
pressure on?
assholes.
Yeah.
Is that it though?
That's how you get rich.
Yeah.
But the ones that had hearts, those are the people that were leaning on their tenants. But everybody else, like Stan Kroenke, not only did he say, we're not going to do anything for you, but in his email to us said, we still have to pay our bills, so you have to pay yours.
Damn.
It was cute of him.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see someone who is that super rich. It's not really going to affect him either way if this building is empty. Like if you have to shut down. But for someone, I don't know about your landlord, for someone who's a little smaller in the tax bracket area, if they are not getting the rent from you, then what good is that doing them in the first place? So why would they not want to help you?
Yeah.
So that the money trickles up from
Right.
there. So that doesn't make sense to me. I don't know how that works. And at that time, I seriously doubt there were a lot of people knocking on their doors wanting to get into business. And people weren't really trying to start, unless you already had a lot of money at that point in time. People really aren't trying to start businesses in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that just defies all logic to me how that could happen. I don't
Yeah.
understand that. But
Yeah, out here we've seen some businesses open. We've seen a lot close.
The SBA is giving away money super cheap right now. If you want to
bet.
actually take a risk and open a business right now,
Right.
as long as you don't want to sell food or alcohol.
Yeah.
And if you want to sell food or alcohol, get fucked. But
Yeah.
if you want to open up a business, right now is the time to do it because money is cheap.
Yeah.
See, there for a second before you said beer and alcohol, or beer and food, I was going to be like, man, have you thought about closing and reopening? Yeah. Maybe.
That would be great. Yeah, I mean, but no. As soon as they find out you want to serve food
Yeah.
or beer, they wash their hands.
That's crazy.
Why?
Too volatile. I mean, it's already the most volatile business in the world. I mean, they say 90%, 50% of restaurants close in 2 years. You
Yeah.
know, and now when the world can't go out, makes it even. That number's got to be even higher.
I got
Yeah.
you. Okay. Why is it so volatile in the first place? What makes
Because people don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah,
you
have to
that's
do it.
what
You have to do it
boils
right from
down
the get.
to.
I mean, both of us have had our times, multiple times that we've almost failed and closed our doors. It's not easy to make people happy in this industry. You're dealing with people. For some reason, we deal with people that think they can speak however they want to our staff, to us. The review sites, you have Yelp and TripAdvisor and Google and Facebook, and they're constantly voicing their opinions. And no one goes to their dentist and starts screaming at their dentist because they didn't fill their cavity right. If their food comes out, not the way they want it, the first thing is to demean a staff member or say something nasty about us online. No one wants to talk to you face to face, but they want to voice their opinion.
Right.
I don't think most people realize how difficult it is to run a business like this. Everybody is like, oh man, I'd love to own my own bar where I can just hang out and drink for free and all my friends can come up and drink for free. They don't drop beer off for nothing here. I mean, we're at Exit 6. I still got to pay for all of that. And you still have to pay your employees. And insurance is astronomical, especially when you got to factor in alcohol insurance. It's expensive. It's difficult. You don't just get to hang out, get drunk every night for free and get all your friends drunk. And that's what most people do, I think. It's like, yay, I own my own bar. Come on up. Drinks are on me tonight. And suddenly they realize, you have to have responsibility. And
Yeah.
now
The bills
you
have to
failed.
be paid.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So were there any other programs that were helpful at all through all of this? Did you get any more
I
assistance?
think that's about it. I mean,
No?
really, I think the only thing, they at one point they shut us down at 11 o'clock, so it was almost, they were fighting against us. So for some reason, and it's countrywide, it's probably worldwide, that bars and restaurants got this blame. It's kind of like the toilet paper thing. Like, everybody collected toilet paper for no fucking reason. They also picked on the bar and restaurant industry for really no reason. They, you could go to Walmart with hundreds and hundreds of people, and we went through Christmas with this. People were shopping everywhere. Malls, the casinos, they were all full. And you have these little guys that they're fighting against, our own local governments. St. Louis County is still going through it. They still can't open up past midnight. So they hit us at 11 o'clock here, and I got involved in a lawsuit, and I sued the county with another restaurant on Main Street, and we filed for a temporary restraining order to try to get that stopped, and lost. We went to court and lost. But then we kind of started doing our homework, and I was very lucky to have a great lawyer that really got to the bottom of it. And as we went and got depositions from the county, we found out that there was no science done. There's no, epidemiology where they would go and take samples and find out if there's COVID, in bars or restaurants more prevalent or anything like that. And the county had no idea. They were just following the leader across the country. But meanwhile, it's businesses like me and Jeff and a lot of our friends that are struggling, not only because people don't want to come in our bars and restaurants because they deem it's not safe, but then you're going to cut our hours. And so we put an end to that, and that was a big win for us in this county. But it's, like I said, there's still parts of this country all over the place they're still fighting that same fight, and there's no merit to it.
When you have 100% of the businesses open, but only 50% of the people feel safe enough to go out, you're already behind the 8 ball. And then when you start cutting our hours even more, you're begging for bars to go out of business at that point. That's the way I looked at it, at least.
Yeah.
And I know plenty of them that have. Luckily, I've been able to survive. Kyle's been able to survive. But when you just keep picking at us and making it more and more difficult to do our jobs, I could sell, let's just, for ease of math, $1,000 between 4 p.m. and 10 p.m., and I'll do another $1,000 between 10 and 12, and my bartender's going to make $500 in that time frame, because that's all my late night crowd. It's my industry people. It's fellow bartenders and servers who do work at big box stores or whatever that close at 11 or 10, and then they come up and they see me, and they tip well, they buy a lot, it's a good time, and we do almost 50% of our business post 10 p.m. And whenever you take that away from us, that everyone looks at it like, oh, you're only having to close 2 extra hours. Yeah, but they're my busiest 2 hours,
right.
Financially. Maybe not for total number of people, but in amount sold or made,
right.
Yeah. I think that's part, those hours keep me and you sane. I think most business owners, because that's the funnest part. Because you're getting around, it's like your own little, group thing where you get together and you talk about your problems, and you sit around and you bitch that this customer did this and they got a shitty tip, and then you kind of work together, and at the end of the night you got a buzz, and then you go and you start the day over again. But you're with the same group of people. I know your bar, there's a 0% chance of either of us coming in either of our bars and not knowing someone.
Right.
0.
Yeah, but that's the fun part of it.
Yeah.
That's what makes us have a really good time in our restaurants and takes the stress away.
Right. But as of right now, hours and everything are back to normal, right? Capacity isn't limited or anything like that, right? So now it's
St.
just a matter of getting people not scared to come out to the business.
We are the wild, wild west out here right now. It's just may the strongest survive,
Yeah.
So help me with this logic if you can. Where did the 11 o'clock thing come from? Like when did
assholes?
Is that a magic number?
You're gonna open up a can of worms here that I will fucking go off, because these people are fucking savages. Forgive my language, but the fuck every single one of these assholes that are doing this shit for no other reason than fucking votes.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Sorry,
that's the other thing we would have. If it wasn't an election year, I've said this a ton. We've talked about this a ton. That I would have loved to seen it not happen. COVID happen in a non-election year to see if what really got. I think it would have got done quicker.
Yeah.
It would be over by now.
It'd be done. And whichever way you look at it, whether you're red or you're blue, they were there for themselves, and it really seems like that. In our counties, you talk about the 11 p.m. hour. We don't. I have a glass back there that one of our food companies made, and it said no COVID past the magical hour of 11 p.m. And there was no thing. The county the health director, told me under oath that he compared COVID to getting AIDS or gonorrhea in a bar because when you drink more, you're more likely to share diseases.
Loose morals, if you know,
Okay.
that's how you get COVID.
So they originally said they were going to do 9 o'clock, and then they agreed upon 11 o'clock.
Okay. So I'm coming along here because this is an honest question on my part because I don't get it. I didn't understand. So we're getting somewhere with the votes, right? That makes a little sense.
Yeah.
Maybe it's even partially for the illusion of safety for the public. Hey, this is what we're doing. So you vote for me because I'm keeping you safe by keeping these places closed more so we can stop the spread of COVID.
Or the other way. So now we have our county executive is a Republican out here. So he said,
Hence the no mask mandate.
no mask mandate, no rules, Wild West. They would do whatever they want.
Okay.
So he was trying to get his votes the other way. Come to St. Charles County, start your business in St. Charles County, because we're not going to handcuff you like St. Louis County did with a Democratic executive.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's one extreme or
But
the
then
other.
they realized that brought over people from St. Louis.
Yeah.
You saw my pause. That was
A dramatic
what did they
effect.
call them? They called them Metro.
Oh, I forgot.
They had this super offensive term that they used for St. Charles. They decided they were going to go to 11 o'clock because staying open till 1 was bringing over the urban
The urban 20-somethings.
urban 20-something. So read between the lines.
in
there.
writing.
We all know what the hell that means.
Jesus.
In writing. They
Wow.
put that,
Yeah.
and nobody fucking raised an eyebrow about it.
Right.
No kidding.
No one said a word. And so the order that they put out, it was done by our county executive. It was done by our health, the guy that was in charge of the health department, and 2 lawyers, they said. So when we go and get them deposed, and they're under oath, neither of the people that were there could pick out what part they wrote. The guy with the signature on the bottom of it, the guy that is the head of the health department in St. Charles, could not tell me what sentences he had. And so he's saying, this is all my responsibility. I'm trying to keep everybody safe, but he couldn't tell you what he fucking wrote on the order.
Jeez.
So that's why it kind of got ended.
It's the most
Yeah.
corrupt bullshit.
It really
I've
is.
ever
And when
been
we dug
involved
into, I mean, I could. Their depositions were supposed to last a half hour each, and it was 4.5 hours. They were under oath, and the shit that we discovered. I mean, I sat in the room. I drank 4 bottles of water because I think my legs were shaking so much because I was so pissed off.
Uh-huh.
I mean, they said that they chose the 11 p.m. hour because it wasn't going to be invasive to our businesses and our bottom line. And when we asked what bars and restaurants did you ask, and he said, "Oh, we didn't ask anybody." Well, how do you know about a bottom line of a restaurant if
Right.
you haven't asked anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we asked him, "What bars and restaurants have you been to personally?" And he couldn't name a single bar or restaurant in his county. Not even like I went and tested somebody. He's been the health director for 13 months and couldn't name a single bar or restaurant. But he's the one closing us all at 11.
Wow.
So where does the information come from then? If he doesn't know what the hell's in it,
From other counties.
from other counties.
He
So
was following
just
St. Louis
hodgepodge?
County, St. Louis City.
Got you. Okay. So really no science whatsoever, no
None.
rhyme or reason. Just take this from here and take this from here, put it together. Hey,
It's all made
I'm
up, and
helping
make sure you vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wouldn't you think, like, so you said, like, by them being Wild West over here, wouldn't you think they would have thought that it was going to bring St. Louis County people over here?
Well, initially that's what they wanted until they found out that sometimes people from St. Louis don't look like us.
There really was. I mean, really, like that. It really came out in a really ugly way. That they were, by shutting us down 11 pot, they're kind of trying to segregate St. Louis County and St. Louis County and City to St. Charles County. Main Street had some issues. They had a couple shootings, and now like even now, you cannot have a DJ on Main Street, and you cannot have dancing anywhere.
That's still in effect?
That's still in effect.
I didn't know that. Holy shit.
And that's a direct result of all of this that happened.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
kidding.
When they allowed us to stay open past 11, that was their makeup. Like, all right, fine, you guys can stay open, but no dancing. It's all footloose rules.
That
now.
is footloose.
It is.
So,
Wow.
so during his press conference, he said, "I'm Mayor Footloose," and he laughed about it. Well, there's a few bars and restaurants down on Main Street, and this only affects Main Street. It's not really out here. He said, "I'm Mayor Footloose. You guys can't dance. You can't have loud music," and he joked about it. Well, to those businesses, that's how they're making their money, and you're cutting a ton of money off their bottom line and laughing about it. Mm-hmm. And like,
No one cares.
and I mean, you realize why people don't, like fight back against their government or say the government's trying to screw us. It's because of shit like that. And you sit on a TV and laugh at the whole thing.
Right.
I mean, you just can't make that shit up, man. It's just not. To say it's not fair is an understatement.
Right.
I mean, once again, it kind of defies logic for me because businesses make counties and cities thrive, right? You want that tax revenue to continue to come in. And it seems like they're pulling out the rug from underneath that in this area to complement or to satisfy this other area. I guess the need for safety, the need for reaction to COVID, to the pandemic. So we got to garner these votes. But how could they possibly sustain that if businesses are going out of business, right? Where's the tax revenue going to come from? So I don't understand that. It just seems so chaotic, and there's no rhyme or reason to what anybody is doing anymore.
Well, there's a little rhyme or reason. There was never any mandates put on Walmart or Home Depot that's one thing. I mean, when we started getting stimulus money, we had a hardware store right up the street they were going to close, and they stayed open because their garden department was so fucking busy, and because there was money being spent in the community. But there's no mandates on them. There's no but the tax money, Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, all them, they wanted all their big tax money, but the little guys like me and him didn't give a shit about them.
Gotcha.
They wanted to save face on the news, and they thought by closing us down they were doing that.
Wow. So the bigger corporations are bringing in the bigger lion's share of the tax dollars, and so screw the little guy, right? Is that what we're getting at?
Yep.
Wow.
Basically, but it's a double-edged sword because by doing that, you're not helping out the community nearly as much as you think you are. By going to these big box stores, you're just helping a CEO pad his wallet with another $1 billion.
Sure.
And when you come to a place like Shamrocks, let's say, because they've got so many more people, that allows Ashley to buy her kids shoes. That allows, any of these, units going to school. When you're enabling more local people to spend more money locally, everybody profits off of that.
Right.
Everybody does better. That's what the whole point of the stimulus money to begin with. Get people spending money.
Yes.
That's how you save the economy. Well, if you can spend it so that if I can spend $1 at Kyle, which allows him to spend $1 someplace else around here, that's how you do it. But if I spend it at Home Depot, then that dollar just goes into the pockets of
Somewhere
the CEO.
else. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we did a thing. What is it called? Project 38, and basically what it was is from every dollar you spend in a local restaurant or business, 38 cents stays in the community. When you spend it at a big box store, it's less than 10 cents. So, like you said, you're just padding the big CEOs, and really, people don't understand. They're like Schnucks will have a record-breaking year. Walmart, they will have a record-breaking year. There's breweries that if you can get your cans and stuff into the stores, are having record years because nobody would go to bars and restaurants, and everybody was going to the grocery store to buy their stuff. So
I can't get draft beer right now. That's what I survive on is draft beer. I can't get it hardly at all because the brewery they're still making beer, but they're putting it all in cans and bottles because that's where it's selling.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Plus, distributors don't want to bring in draft because of the hours limitations put on bars, so they're not selling draft.
Yeah.
So now beer's going bad and it's costing them money. It's all trickle down, man. One little move hurts everything.
Right. Yeah, this conversation kind of took a turn into some things I didn't anticipate, but it was very important. I'm glad we did, talking about the way that these local governments, municipalities are trying to manage things or what it is they're doing. A lot of corruption, it seems like, a lot of chasing our tails and not knowing what the hell they're doing, seemingly at least. I wonder if it's like that in everywhere. Have you heard about other places, other cities, anything like that where the same kind of chicanery is going on?
Yeah, I know. You want to talk about New York is huge. They shut down all restaurants. I think 6 months, most of them were done. There was a lot of people that were out. All these people are out of jobs. California still has not opened up.
Wow.
They're still doing the same shit. There's no groups, comedy clubs. We were talking about stand-up comedy earlier. The biggest one in California is not open still because of COVID.
So I wonder, politics are probably a little different. I assume it's politics as usual in those places as well. You think there's a lot of the same things going on there as it is here, like lining of pockets, trying to make people feel safe, trying to get votes. It's pretty much the same across the board.
Yeah.
You feel like?
I assume politics are politics, and they're probably all gonna, politicians gonna politic.
Yeah, it's going to be
I
pretty much the
assume, I
same
don't know.
everywhere.
Man.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Who
I know
knows?
during COVID I went down and spent a weekend down in Dallas, and when I was there, it's very similar to St. Louis County. It's masked as soon as you walk in the restaurant, and if your server came up to your table, you had to put a mask on. The only time you could take it off is if you're eating or drinking. They were so strict on their stuff. At each door by their liquor license, it said the first one you get a warning that if you because I think there were 25% capacity. Or if you weren't requiring people to wear masks. So they got a warning. The first one was a $2,000 fine. The third one was a $5,000 fine. And the owner of the restaurant got a felony on their record.
Holy crap.
But now that there's new government in after this last election, what did Texas do 2 weeks ago?
They got rid of everything.
Full fucking bore. They took off all mask mandates. They're allowing people, full stadiums. The Texas Rangers are doing full stadiums. How do you go from so strict, we're going to give you a felony if we warn you too many times, to do whatever the fuck you want?
Right.
Yeah.
But they're going to say that it's because all these COVID shots are rolling out, though, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
There was some timing there. I mean, I don't know if you all are into the conspiracy theories at all about all of this. There are a lot of them floating around, but I think one of them is the timing of the vaccinations and things like that, and the opening back up of all of this.
Sure.
And if you look at the numbers, it did seem like there was a downward trend in COVID numbers. I don't watch it really closely, but there was a downward trend in overall numbers right before the vaccine was rolled out. But the vaccine is getting all of the credit for this, along with the timing of opening businesses back up and whatnot. Seems kind of fishy. It seems like the timing was just a little too coincidental. But I think it was California, though, where they were having to, I don't know if it was a mandate per se or just a recommendation, but they were having to put their mask, take it off while they ate a bite of food and then put it back on as they chew. Did you all see that?
That's the way it was at the Blues game.
We went to the Blues game on Sunday, and it's the same way there.
In St. Louis?
Right here. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah.
That just, it just, I don't know.
They have a video that they played at every commercial break in which they showed a guy eating a sandwich, take his mask off, take a bite, put the mask on, chew.
This is how you do it.
Yep.
Just like this.
The ushers have big signs waving, Matt, put your mask on.
Those would be the grossest masks when you walked out of there
Hell yeah.
ever. Ugh.
Speaking of, have you seen the ladies that wear a lot of facial makeup when they take their masks off? How caked they are? It gets pretty gross. I would think that's probably more
I've seen the pictures of
unhygienic
the people
than...
that go on vacation and they've got their mask on and they got the suntan, but
Uh-huh.
not with the mask.
Perfect. Right.
It's hilarious.
Well, if we could, let's focus a little bit more on the good stuff, on what people can do, because you got a lot of good content, a lot of good ideas about what people can do to support you all and others in local business. Let's drive some inspiration into them. What can people do, specifically, generally, anything you've got, just to really rev up the population to support locals, man. Support mom and pop. Support anything but the big box.
That's all I could say.
Yeah.
Maybe if you want chicken wings, go to a Shamrocks, not a B-Dubs.
Yeah.
It's a lot of those things that we do, and I think we all do them, is that you go for convenience sometimes. It's very easy for me to go to Walmart instead of going to my local market that, like Anthony's Produce that's right by us. It's got a guy's name. That's his family that works there.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of going and even trying to save a little money, go and realize that you're actually supporting someone that has a family that is really caring about their job, that's worked their whole lives to make this little market, this restaurant, this bar, this brewery, whatever it is. Go and take the time to drive a little longer or spend just a small amount more money and realize you're actually affecting your community in a positive way.
Yeah.
And the other big thing that I really learned about a ton is Amazon. And I shop on Amazon. I get a package here almost every day. But it's convenient. It's if you can go somewhere and find those things, go to somewhere that you can, that has, like I said, that's local, that's independent, instead of, buying it online.
Yeah. Yeah, and there is some science behind that. We are evolutionarily manufactured to eat and drink the things that are local to us. We are used to our environment. We're not used to an environment across the seas or even across the country somewhere else. And so the more locally sourced stuff that you get food-wise, especially, I was thinking about how I like to go to this place that we have down close to home, Earth Mother Foods,
I think is
something
what it's
like
called,
that. I get my honey from there. You know, they've got great honey that's just extracted, whatever you do with honey. They get it from the bees, right? They get that from just, 30, 40 miles down the road. And the same with the cinnamon. I buy cinnamon there, and I buy, my oats there for oatmeal. The steel cut oats. It's all locally sourced. Like, it's close. And that's how we're supposed to actually eat and drink, and it's supposed to be a tighter community. We're not supposed to get our meats from China sent over here or from South America. Now, granted, we can't grow avocados here, I don't think, and so I got to get those from down south. And I love avocados, so I'm going to continue to buy those. But I've been more and more trying, and there's butchers around.
Pineapples too.
Pineapples too, right?
Love me some pineapple.
But there's butchers around that they raise their cattle closely and they butcher it right there, and it's good meat. It hasn't been through the processes of being packaged and shipped, and no telling them God knows what happens.
You get a
to that
better
stuff.
relationship with your food that way too.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's kind of a pride thing when you realize that you bought a product. It's the same thing with beer. Like, I can go and drink a beer at Jeff's, and I can have something from a big brewery out of California or Michigan or wherever it is, and then I realize that if I buy one of his, it's completely different, because then it brings up a conversation and we're talking back and forth about how the beer is actually made and what I like about it, what I don't like about it, what he likes about it, what he doesn't like about it. It's a lot more fun and more satisfying to get something locally than it is to go and buy it from someone that you don't even know.
Absolutely.
What about as far as like ingredients in beer? Is it possible to get everything that you need locally?
I wish.
You wish. That's
Yeah,
fine.
no, it's really not. Well, I mean, for starters, you can't grow hops in this climate.
Okay.
It's too hot and too dry here.
Gotcha.
Many people have tried. Grain, kind of the same way. So I get my yeast local.
Okay, there you go. I mean,
about it, man.
And your water.
My water is locally sourced.
You don't have it shipped in?
No.
Well, if anyone hasn't sat and talked to a brewer, though, about the process or taken a tour, and just drank the beer that they brewed on site, they don't know what they're missing.
Yeah.
Because it's awesome. It's just awesome.
You'll never
There's love
find
put into
someone
that.
more passionate about beer than a local brewer.
Absolutely.
Ever. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, and like we have Anheuser-Busch that Jeff continues to fight, day by day. But those guys, they call themselves brewers, and Jeff taught me this, that they're really not brewers, they're scientists. To make Bud Light taste the same way across the world is not brewing beer. It's every molecule is the exact same fucking way every single batch.
Yeah. Calling them not brewers is not an insult at all either. That's a compliment.
Yeah.
It's the way that's intended. So.
wow.
I get it. It's something to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But it's still not the same as brewing beer, right?
Sure.
Because there's going to be some minute differences in what you
Absolutely.
brew. It's nature. It's science. It's you put all this stuff together, and there's a process, right? You can't always be in complete control of that process unless you are, in fact, a scientist that can brew beer that tastes the same in China as it does in St. Charles.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They take the passion out of it. I think that's what I've learned a lot being a part of the brewery community, knowing guys like Jeff that to see their eyes when someone drinks one of their beers and says, fuck, this beer is good, is so different than the guy that's behind the computer and is not even moving hoses. It's just you hit a button and the beer goes down this way and it goes into this tank, and then you hit another button and the yeast or whatever. It's so different than what they do to actually create the beer here.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't even have to hit a button more than once anymore. For real. They click a mouse and say start, and then it tells them when the beer is done
That's wild, man.
in a week.
Yeah.
I mean, God bless them. They do what they do. They supply a lot of beer.
And we all
to-
drink it. There's two of us drinking it right here.
Yeah.
I was to say, like, if you had the option of being able to do it that easily, you would.
Yes. Yes. Yes, I would.
He also wouldn't be here talking to us. He'd be worth a lot more than all the
That's
money.
so true.
He wouldn't be worried about a COVID and PPP loan.
Fucking cerebral entertainment. Go fuck yourself. Who the hell are
Let me
you?
get on Barstool's podcast. It's my important.
Well, we do.
I called Joe Rogan. No, you think I'm going to do your stupid show?
We appreciate you guys jumping on.
Yeah.
We've got the big show tonight. Inimical Drive's playing just right
very
across
excited.
the parking lot. A good friend of ours, Mr. Joel Colby, is going to be doing his thing, and a couple of other bands going to be up there. We also got a couple of comedians up tonight.
There's one comedian, not me.
Well, I mean, there's a couple
guy
of
that actually does it.
There's a comedian and another guy telling jokes.
okay.
At least we think they're jokes. We'll find out in a little bit.
Yeah, right.
We're gonna find out if it's actually comedy or not. But
Yeah.
man, we're looking forward to that. I know you're nervous, but
Yeah,
any-
I shouldn't have opened my mouth and said it was a part of my bucket list to do stand-up comedy, and our buddy Joel made it happen. But I'm excited. I'm nervous. I don't get nervous anymore talking to people, but
Is it a good nervous though?
I'll tell you in a little bit. I've done. I'll tell. I think I did it the right way. I'm not walking up there with a piece of paper. I've rehearsed. I've taken time. I've eliminated jokes that I thought sucked.
Yeah.
I talked a lot in front of my dog today. She likes the set.
I want to know, can I see the jokes that didn't make the cut after the show?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll actually tell you one of them, and it was kind of just like just the basis of an idea, and it was about 2020 not being known for COVID, but the year of the Karens, and I had this dream while stoned that I held a Royal Rumble, and it all had Karens, and I just had them running down the ramp like Macho Randy Savage with their feathered hair all, and they get in the ring, and all they do is bitch at each other. So that was it was kind of just like an idea. But there was a lot of shit that had to get cut out or didn't make it.
I'm more excited to watch your 3 minutes than I am Joel Sauer.
totally.
This guy will be my hardest critic too. I'll be looking
right,
at
I
him.
will
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
We've already decided we're going to laugh hysterically at everything.
We're going to support you 100%.
Absolutely.
100%.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I appreciate that. The yells, so hopefully I'll do the booze.
Yeah.
You think they let me hook my phone up and we do like that Family Guy laugh after every single
Oh
joke?
my God.
I think either way, if it's on your bucket list, man, this is an opportunity. It's going to be a fantastic time.
Yeah, I have a very odd bucket list, and this was a part of it. And I'll be happy to knock this one off and start moving on to something else.
Okay. Any other bucket list items you want to share while you're?
Weird ones.
Whatever.
So in New Zealand, before they play rugby matches, they do the like traditional dance where they scream and yell and beat on each other.
Uh-huh.
I want to be a part of one of those,
Okay.
but I want to do it in New Zealand. So, guys, I don't have kids. I love to travel, and that'll be something that I'd love to try to do.
Okay.
A haka, it's called.
Gotcha. Jeff, you
Nice.
got something for us? Any bucket list items?
I just want to keep my business open. That's my bucket list right now.
That's number one on it, man.
That's a good one. I like that one
Let's
too.
check that one off,
Yeah.
please.
All right, guys. Well, we've got to close down. We've got a show to get to pretty soon. So once again,
I
appreciate.
gotta go
the,
there and do
catch
sound
up,
check
so-
right now.
Yeah. So gonna get on the move.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No, I'm not. No, I am not. I'm not joking. I do have to go over there right now because the comedian that's actually a comedian is gonna listen to my set and give you some pointers. So
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
He's a good dude.
I've not met him yet.
We've had him on the show.
We've had him on the show before.
Yeah? Good?
Yeah.
Who is
Yeah.
it?
Max Price.
I know he does. I was.
So he's expensive?
I don't know what that means. What?
His name is Max Price.
Oh, sure.
You think
PRYC.
he's a comedian?
I know, right?
Maybe he should be on your bucket list too.
Maybe.
I watched some of his stuff last night. I've not seen him, but he was tagged on a social media post, so I got to go and see his stuff. He's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been around the scene for quite a while.
Quite a while. He
Quite a
hosts
few
a lot of
He
years.
travels
shows.
a little bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
All right, guys. Let's do this thing.
All right, guys.
You're out.